那有请马老师。
好，谢谢。我看了大家一共有210 participants，就是有大概210个人在听。那我自己现在是在旧金山，然后的话，我是负责旧金山湾区的一个私立学校的一个副主任，同时也帮助很多学生来申请大学。那这2位呢，一位是 Jason Chan， 他是刚刚2周前才被斯坦福所录取，应该是3周之前。Jason, when did you get accepted? How long ago? 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, 3
Okay.
weeks. Maybe.
OK， 对然后 Jason 刚刚才被斯坦福的早生所录取，然后 Annella，OK，this is Annella， 然后她是被去年 she got accepted by Stanford last year and she got full scholarship， 就是她是去年被斯坦福所录取，然后是拿到了全额的奖学金，然后很高兴能够请到2位学生能够分享一下他们的经验，然后呢Jason 也在最后1秒钟赶了一个他自己总结出来的一个 PPT， 然后也是我认为在申请大学过程中是最重要的几个环节。那我们可以先来让 Jason 来分享一下，就是他是怎么来申请进入斯坦福的。然后呢，我们也可以根据 Annella 的一个情况，他是怎么来拿到这个全额奖学金的。So let me just translate what I said. Yeah, Annella might have a problem understanding Chinese. Annella, can you understand a little bit, or you don't understand at all? Maybe not. But Jason, you can understand Chinese, right? Yeah, Jason has really good Chinese background actually. 其实 Jason 还考了 AP 的中文。
Our college process, what you and your student need to know, while kind of navigating how the system works here in the United States. I just want to talk about the general timeline of the college application process. Throughout freshman and junior year, we really want your students to maintain good grades. That means all A's if possible, great activities, good awards, and extracurriculars. Stanford and other top colleges, they really look for students who are incredibly passionate about the work that they do, and they have a huge spike in a specific field. And what that means is, there are well-rounded students and then there are students who are incredibly talented in one field. That's the type of student that Stanford and all the other kind of big colleges are looking for, students who do so much in one subject that they're nationally renowned, they're known everywhere for pursuing that one field, whether that be STEM or humanities focused, political science focused. So we really want students to kind of develop that spike. We also want students to build meaningful relationships with their teachers, because that comes in handy not just for their grades, but also for their recommendation letters as well. And that's incredibly important because it's basically someone from academia telling somebody else from academia that this student is really great and needs to have a spot at their university. So the teacher recommendation letters are huge. And that's basically what your students should be focusing on freshman to junior year. They should also be testing as well, taking the SAT or the ACT, taking their AP tests or the IB exams. We know that, although right now everything's test optional, test blind, in a couple of years that might not be so. And even if they are test optional, colleges still put a lot of value. I'm going to talk about that later a lot too. Around spring semester of junior year, we want the students to start asking their teachers for their recommendation letters and secure those early. I can't tell you how many of my friends asked their teachers too late and their teachers missed deadlines, weren't able to submit their recommendations, weren't able to submit their applications, and that just puts a lot of stress on the student and the teacher. So be respectful and ask earlier. Next, the summer after junior year is a great time to start planning a college list. You can even start a little earlier with kind of dream schools, schools that you're probably going to go to, and safety schools, and understand all the different requirements and deadlines and financial aid and all that kind of stuff. And then begin drafting their essays, writing first drafts, second drafts. We know that college essays, they go through so many iterations that, it looks completely different from how it started. And it's better to start early so the student has more time to tackle their essays. In the fall of senior year, we want the essays to be finalized and completed on the common application. That's how students apply, is through the common application, and submit their early applications if they have a school that they're really passionate about and they really want to go to, and they can start their financial aid process as well. By the end of winter, all the deadlines shall have already passed. So by winter, around this time, your student will have finished and can start applying for scholarships. They might already have an offer from a university already at this time. So that's kind of how colleges, the whole timeline goes. And yeah, so moving on, I know Alex gave me a bit of an introduction, but I'm located here in San Francisco. I was recently accepted into Stanford. And you know, something special was that the director of admissions at Stanford wrote a personalized note just for me on my acceptance letter. They do it for a lot of students too. I'm just going to read it really quickly. Welcome to Stanford, Jason. I've no doubt you will take our campus by storm because I was truly amazed by what you've already accomplished, from your work with Senator Scott Wiener and AB 1858 to founding Bay Area student activists. You've already done so much, but just as importantly, the way you wrote about your family and supporting your mom let me know you'd be exactly the type of supportive and caring community member we so value here. Also, I did my graduate work in urban planning, so I'm down to talk about urban housing markets anytime. Your perspective was fascinating. Again, congratulations. So I think this kind of shows what admissions officers are looking for in a student. They're looking for someone who's accomplished in one field with a spike. They do a lot. What he's talking about, I interned for state senator for two years. I wrote my own bill, that's AB 1858, and I founded a student organization. I wrote my common application about the struggles in a first generation immigrant household and supporting my mom and our family as much as I could, and how that kind of tied in with my passion for political science or advocacy and activism. And I talked about my fascination with socioeconomic gaps and how families are struggling in urban communities, and I guess it resonated well with him. So it's kind of academics, it's accomplishments, it's your story. That's what they're looking for, and that's what you kind of want to cultivate in your student as well. So about the SAT and the ACT, again, 2020, 2021 is a crazy year. So most colleges opted for test optional or test blind. I was able to score pretty well back in my freshman year. So I was able to get my test done before everything shut down. But some colleges are really considering removing the test requirement altogether because they don't really think that it's a good measure of student success. But they're just saying that. If they do have access to your SAT and ACT scores, obviously they're going to consider it very strongly. And if you take it early or you score really well, it really does distinguish themselves from other students. The SAT and the ACT, they serve as an assessment that colleges use to evaluate their readiness. It's been used for decades. And you also want to take subject tests to show that you're not only skilled in math and English, but also physics or Chinese or US history or something like that. I think it's especially important for STEM-oriented students as well. And so, what I do is I do a lot of, with Alex and Chance Education, we do a lot of tutoring. And so we tutor in those subjects. Also in advanced placement, AP tests are incredibly important. There are many, many different AP tests that your student can take. Colleges know which ones are hard and which ones are easier, like AP Calculus BC compared to AP Human Geography or AP Environmental Science. While they're really great courses to take, they don't want to see a person's transcript all filled with easy APs when there are definitely harder APs that their peers are taking and that are more rigorous. And so we want students to take a rigorous amount of APs, but definitely keep that balance. It's better to take less APs and score high in all of them than to take more and score low and tank your GPA. That looks really badly for the colleges. Like I said, even if a student earns an A on the AP course, if they score poorly on the exam, that kind of shows their actual mastery of the subject and how they haven't mastered it. So if you go to like an easy school, they give A's to students, but you're unable to show that in comparison to students across the country, you're unable to pass, then it also reflects pretty negatively. So AP tests are incredibly important. And that's why, I kind of want to highlight what Chance Education offers. We do a lot of individualized one-on-one tutoring for SAT, ACT, AP, IB, dual enrollment classes with tutors who attend top universities like Annella and myself, or who will attend in my case. We have, I have specialization expertise in English, specifically English language arts, reading, grammar, and other humanities fields. And I know a lot of students in China specifically struggle with those fields. So, kind of expanding their mastery of those subjects is definitely top of mind for all of us. We don't only teach to get correct answers, but kind of broader testing strategies about how to annotate and tackle long passages, how to write notes in the margins, how to build grammar to become the natural English, around the natural English level, time management on the test, and I create personalized curriculums for every student to fit their needs, and wherever their comfort level is, what their school is doing at the same time, we can supplement that as well. We can also do college consulting to help students figure out, what they want to do with their life, how they want to present themselves to their colleges, what activities they want to do, how to build a college list, connect with admissions officers and complete their applications. Something big that I did, something important that I did that I think a lot of students don't know about is that you can kind of connect with your admissions officer before you've received a yes from them. When they're still evaluating your application, you can ask them questions to show your interest in the university. And although they say that they don't track demonstrated interest, if you ask a memorable question, they do actually remember you. I emailed my admissions officer, and he wrote back in a very full and thoughtful way. And that was really helpful, I think, to my acceptance, kind of how I got accepted. I think that made a big influence. So we can work with the students to help craft those emails and get them sent out, and obviously completing their applications and sending them to the schools. About the essays, they're incredibly important. They're what sets aside a student who scores perfectly in everything and a student who scores, not just the mark, but has a very compelling story. That's what sets them apart. Because, I don't want to label students as boring versus compelling, but colleges definitely keep an eye out for those students who have really, really interesting personal backgrounds that kind of shaped how they grew up, or how they how they kind of tackle life, and what their motivations are. This is something unique about the American college system, is that they care about the holistic person versus just test scores and grades. So that's why you see some students who don't have the perfect SAT score or the perfect grades still get into top universities. It's because they're really great people who have those backgrounds. In your Common App essay, you want to tell a story, you want to write very memorably, you want to evaluate yourself personally and be vulnerable. It's very difficult for younger students to do this and to really think critically about themselves in that type of way. You have to kind of deeply analyze your own motivations about, why do I want to pursue activism? Why do I want to organize my community? Try to find a story in that. And you really don't want to like just list your achievements or list your awards, because that's found elsewhere in your application. And this is a place where you can really tell that story. But the supplemental essays can be more achievement oriented. And so, we also, I've written a ton of essays, and I've definitely helped a lot of my friends with their essays as well. We offer a one-on-one essay service to help students to select topics to write about. And we provide guidance on so many different parts of the essay, like structure, diction, anecdotes, vocabulary, flow. The editing process is definitely very, very rigorous and grueling, and it can be difficult at times, but at the end of it, students can discover a lot about themselves through the self-reflection. They don't do it enough. Through our process, we hope that your students will create one of the most beautiful essays that they've ever written, that really, really tells your story and can really impress the admissions officers. Okay, and next I want to talk about internships and research programs. I think that internships are an incredibly good way to demonstrate your workplace experience and passion in a specific area. A lot of people, they apply to internships, but some can also create their own by cold emailing or leveraging existing connections with businesses, small businesses, legislators, or professors. For example, the internship that I was able to, that I had the opportunity to participate in was done through cold emailing. I literally sent just a simple Gmail. Hi, I'm a high school student. I'm really, really passionate about public policy, and I would love for me to join your office and help in any way that I can, unpaid, volunteer, whatever. And they interviewed me, and I created a position for myself when they didn't have like a formal application. So that's something that your student can do, and we can definitely help with that. And internships and research programs are one of the best ways to get a very, very strong supplemental recommendation. I got an additional recommendation letter from the senator himself. It was around 4 pages. It was very, very strong. And I think that really helped as well, because in the internship, you do a lot of work that they can really highlight that you don't want to highlight because it's kind of really braggy, but they can highlight it for you. We help students secure their internships and prepare them for not only college, but also later down in life as well. The last thing that I want to talk about is sports. It's kind of there as well. It's another pathway for students to get into college if they're really, really good at sports. Colleges, especially like Stanford and D1 schools, the top 20 schools, they recruit heavily in various sports. I row crew from my local rowing club. And I didn't necessarily get recruited for it, but I was able to kind of get leadership opportunities through my sports, and it shows kind of determination, motivation, grit that some students who don't do sports don't have. So, and also your coaches can give a supplemental recommendation as well. So that's kind of the overview of my experience with the college process and what I think are the most important points to highlight. Definitely, it's a tough process, and a lot of students are still going through it right now. So I'm very lucky that Stanford has invested and given me the opportunities that they have. And I'm open to new students, and I'm able to start tutoring as soon as possible. So definitely just feel free to reach out to myself or to Alex, and we can get started. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your sharing, Jason. I really appreciate it. And every time I listen to your story, I get really inspired. 各位家长大家好，我就最简单来翻译一下，可能有一些家长可能不听英语，但是多数家长都能听懂英语。总的来说的话，就是 Jason 他总结了一下他一个斯坦福的一个录取经验。当然，第一，他的成绩是非常好的。首先 ，Jason 他在9年级的时候他就考了这个 SAT。 所以说的话，他考的是1580分，满分1600分。他在9年级的时候就考了1580分，所以说这次有很多 test center， 就是 SAT 的这个考试中心全部被取消的时候，他已经有了一个几乎完美的一个 SAT 成绩来申请他的这个斯坦福大学。那除了这个 SAT 呢，第二个重要的就是 AP 课程，因为几乎所有好的大学，它都需要学生去递交一个 AP 或者是 IB。那么其实 AP 的话是更会认可一些。然后杰森他自己是考了8个 AP，然后在8个 AP 里面，他7个拿了满分5分，一个拿了4分。所以说 Jason 他是一位非常 academic， 就是他的学术能力是非常非常强的。同时呢，他又去实习。他在哪里实习？通过努力，我们一起就是他拿到了一个在参议员，就是在加州这个政府参议员的这个实习工作。所以说呢，而且最后他拿到了一份 senator 的 recommendation letter， 他拿4 pages， 他拿到就是加州参议员帮他写的一个就是4 pages A4 纸4页满满的一个推荐信。这总统都帮助了他能够顺利的被这一次斯坦福早录取，也就是2周之前他被录取成功。同时呢，他又是非常强的一个体育爱好者，他自己会皮划艇，他自己会冲浪。然后的话，这也从体育中他也展示出了他一个个人的一个 leadership， 他个人的一个领导力能力。所以说，很多大学有的时候这些招生部他会录取一些学生，有的学生他可能没有一个完美的一个SAT 成绩或者 ACT 成绩，但他同样会被录取。或者呢，有的学生他的一个成绩可能并不是很好，不是完美的这种哈佛、斯坦福的成绩，但是呢，他已经被录取。所以说，这是一个就是在 admission office， 就是当这个招生部在录取学生的时候，他是看了一个 overall， 他是看了一个整体这样。最后的话 ，Jason 他自己同时他还收到了一个斯坦福 admission director 写了他一个 personal note， 就是斯坦福的录取招生部的主任，然后写了给Jason 写了一个就像一个亲自的一个亲笔提信，就是在孩子拿到斯坦福、哈佛的这些录取通知书的时候，会有正式的录取通知书，官方的一个 acceptance letter。同时呢 ，Jason 他也收到了一个斯坦福录取部招生部主任给他的一个私人邮件，对他的一个家庭的一个，当然我们在帮助学生写这些essay 的时候，都会涉及到一些家人、你的故事、你的背景。然后 Jason 自己提到了一个他的一个 immigration， 他自己的父母是怎么来到美国，然后可能之前是怎么在一个人生经历中受到了哪些挫折，然后怎么去克服这些挫折。所以说这些故事都被斯坦福的录取官都被这些斯坦福的主任深深的打动，所以说也收到了一个这个个人的一个邮件信件这样。然后 Jason 最近也是在想帮助一些，他自己也提出他想帮助一些就是可能是想要来申请斯坦福或者哈佛或者有任何需要大学帮助的这些学生，他也会我们会一起努力帮助这些孩子来成功这样。